Hello viewers, welcome back to my YouTube channel, English and Literature with Carol. In case you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and let's keep learning. Thank you for the love that you have shown me in paper 2. I want us to look at English paper 2, tips on tackling questions in English paper 2. The comprehension question tips. How do you do well in comprehension? Comprehension can boost your ability. This is a question that you have never seen before. Question on anything. It's a very broad subject, so be keen on that. I want you to ensure that you score 20 over 20 in this question. Now, what do? When you come across such a question, you must practice the reading skills called skimming and scanning. Now, let us have a step-by-step way of looking at this. What is skimming? If you have received your paper, assuming that you're in the exam room and you have received that paper, ensure that you have an idea what is the length of this question. Ask yourself, we normally talk of the SQ3R. When have an overall impression of the paper. Have skimming is where you read through the passage quickly in order to get what you call the gist of that. So when you read through the passage quickly, you have an idea. It will help you to take the right turn or the right direction. Now you will be thinking in a certain manner because you have an idea. When you some passages can be very easy when you're looking at them. Some can be a bit harder to comprehend. Just have an idea of what is this person trying to tell us. What is the writer trying to communicate? That is what you know when you talk of skimming. Just looking through and reading through. You can have a tip of maybe looking at the first sentences and the last sentences, or just an overall look at everything that the examiner has talked about. Now, the next thing, this one will be, you will be more keen, will be scanning. Have you ever encountered a scanner? Do you know what a scanner does? A scanner looks at something keenly. Now, this is where you will go through that passage looking for very important information. You have to get the information. It requires you to tackle the comprehension questions in a very keen manner, a thorough manner. Look at those questions. Have an idea. Now, when you're going back to that comprehension, look at that work with the care that it deserves. If you have come across information that you have never seen before, think about it. Think through it. Do not assume that you have anything. Be an open-minded person when you're looking at this. So that is how you scan through the information. Remember, the comprehension questions are normally set in a chronological manner from the beginning to the end. So answer them like that. Answer them when they are following each other. You have read, you have skimmed through, you have read very quickly. Now when you're reading the next time, you are reading with your ability to answer those questions in mind. Look at question 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't look at question 1 and the next question you're looking at is question 4. It will mess you up. That information is meant to flow. You patiently ensure that the information flows. If you want to do very well in comprehension, do that, and your life will never be the same again. Also have an idea, have a rough idea of how these questions are set. How does the examiner set these questions? What are your expectations? What are the expectations of an examiner from you? So don't just read blindly. So you as a candidate, you require to, if your question requires you to identify, make sure that you identify. If a question requires you to identify and illustrate, make sure that you identify and illustrate. The paper 2 is set with that you will be guided by the number of marks awarded by that question. So don't say, we have not been given the number of points that you should work on. If that question has 2 marks, ensure that you are actually working for 2 marks. Paper 2 requires illustrations. Identify that and you must illustrate. Questions on also when you're looking at this, ensure that you know that questions on summary and note making, never missing this question. So, are you good at summary writing? Do you know how to make a summary? Ensure that you follow those instructions and you make sure that you know exactly what you're doing. Do not take chances. These are the number of marks. If the summary question requires you to have five points, and in not more than 100 words, follow those instructions carefully. And also write them with the grammar, that the correct spellings, the correct punctuation. Remember, punctuation marks are not counted. So ensure that when you're writing, and give in this question, give a full answer, knowing that this is where you are looking for your marks. Another thing that the tip in the comprehension question that you must have in mind is that the examiner is testing you on the element of context. Remember, you have been given a comprehension. You may have prior information, maybe about, for example, when we have a sample question, like the sample question KSCE 2022, there was a question there about the citizens' way of life, the freedom, how people go about issues, and it's called, according to paragraph 1, what are the emotional effects of terror attacks? For example, in that question. So you are supposed to go to paragraph 1. Don't go to any other paragraph, because that question has been very clear. And it says, today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom under attack, in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist attack. The victims in aeroplanes and their offices, secretaries, businessmen and women, military and government workers, mothers, fathers, friends, and neighbors. Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror. And it goes on and on. Read all the way to the end. This one here is a speech. So have that. If you have skimmed through, you have an idea that we are talking about a what? A speech. So when you're reading, in the next time you hear, I fumbled at the beginning because I didn't know exactly what this passage was about. But when I'm reading the second time, remember, I have skimmed through. Now, if I am scanning, I have that tone in my mind. I have, this one is a speech because I have skimmed through up to the end of the comprehension there, and it says, adapted from speeches that changed the world, the stories and transcripts of moments that made history. London Publishing Limited, 8th edition, 2007. So when I am going back to read, now I am scanning, I want to answer my question on, according to paragraph 1, what are the emotional effects of terror attacks? I have that in mind. So when I'll be reading that, today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts. The citizens were in aeroplanes or in their offices, secretaries, businessmen and women, military and government workers, mothers and fathers, friends and neighbors. Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror. The pictures of aeroplanes flying into buildings, fire burning, huge structures collapsing have filled us with disbelief, terror, sadness, and a quiet, unyielding anger. These acts of mass murder were intended to frighten our nation into chaos and retreat, but they have failed. Our country is strong. You can see now, if I will be looking at this question, I will be looking at, according to paragraph 1, what are the emotional effects of the terror attacks. So I will go back there and look at how are these people reacting. Even if I do not have the marking scheme, if I was to look there through there, I can see that these acts of murder were intended to frighten us. To frighten. Those are some of the, and I am picking exactly from paragraph 1, not any other paragraph, because those are the guidelines there. There is fear. That is what I have picked from there. And you can see it becomes very easy. And there is anger because of these despicable acts of violence. So you can see, if you were to employ these two skills, it becomes very easy for you to look at a comprehension. And there is also another question that appears in this work. There is a question on the grammar. Ensure that you follow instructions. Grammar questions boost you. The questions on meanings of words also are very important. What is the position of the speaker on terrorism? Explain your answer. So if you have read the whole of that passage, you will see by the use of the words that these speakers are using, what is the position of the speaker. So using information in the third and fourth paragraphs, identify 3 things said by the speaker to reassure the audience about their security. These are questions that are flowing. So if you had started with question 1, question 2, question 3, let it flow like that. Explain the meaning of the following words as used in the passage. Despicable. So look through the passage, go back to the passage again and discover how has it been used here. For example, with the use of the word despicable, where was it used? Did you notice that it was used in paragraph 1? So mention the meaning there. Totally unbelievable. For example, with that meaning, according to the way it has been used there in context, not what you have always known. If, for example, you have been asked what is the meaning of the word retreat, for example, you know there are different meanings of the words retreat, but here we want to look at how it has been used in the passage. So, did you learn something? Was it a good lesson? Do you want to watch more of these videos? Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for being here. Look out for question 2. Bye.